Coming up on this episode of The Brain Drain Show.
Who was the first person you gave a Lovenskate printed board to?
Exclusive news.
I was meant to be a millionaire 10 times over in 2020.
Sat round and sponged camo pattern onto 200 blank boards.
I don't drink tea.
If you make you a brain drain board, it would be an honour. I'm a bit of a hippie about this sort of thing.
No, a pack's £5.50 in the corner shop.
The cost of butter, Lucy, is outrageous.
It's insane how much, and that was that 12 colour? 13 colour.
Oh, I quite like the idea that you've been curious and I'm about to make it not that curious anymore. But I've literally melted my brain with thinners, so I'll forget this happened by tomorrow.
Don't sit there in the intro covering your face like it's the worst thing ever.
Get on with it!
Just look to the camera with me. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening or good night whenever you're joining us. My name's Forde Brookfield, joined with my trusty host,
Toby
Batchelor. And today we're joined by two special guests. We have Sir Stuart Smith. I forgot your middle name already.
Anthony.
We're
Stop rocking me.
We're joined by Stuart Anthony Smith and Lucy Adams from Lovenskate. Round of applause, please, studio audience.
Knuckles? Or am I just gonna... Ow, Jesus.
Me and Stu come with our,
Yeah.
Are they Lovenskate rings?
They are, yeah.
Did you bring me one?
Solid silver. Yeah, it's with the Metallica board.
Oh, sick. Nice, thanks for that.
It's pretty funny because on the last episode you said you keep trying to fist bump people and they just don't know you exist. And you
Yeah,
just
I
tried
do
to
it
fist
all the
bump
time,
Lucy
and she
and
just
she didn't
blanked
even know you were there.
Yeah.
I thought it was a signal to the camera or something.
No.
No.
Sorry.
So the way we've been signing off these podcasts, do either of you believe in ghosts?
Have we? Have we been signed off?
I've got
You
my
have.
Real Gold Skate Paul's top on.
Yeah, but
Classic.
have
You
you...
should re-release that board.
Okay.
Yeah. I do.
Pull shape board.
All right. I'm
Done.
Let's do
Is
it.
that easy to get
we
aboard?
have
There you go,
the film.
episode done. You found out everything you
We have
need
the
to
ink.
know
We
and
have
we're
the
ready.
technology. We
Yeah.
can do that.
Have you ever seen a ghost?
I've never seen a ghost. My little girl asked me about ghosts.
Would
Daddy, do they exist? Are they scary? Don't be daft. You've got nothing to worry about. Go to sleep. But then there's that thing of me, that kind of the spiritual side of me. Which
What
I
a
think-
dismissive way to... Don't be daft, go
Shut
to
up,
sleep.
go to sleep.
Shut up. Go to sleep.
Do I believe in ghosts? I want to, but not the mean ones.
Not the mean ones.
My argument was, right, we spoke about this on other episodes, is if you're a ghost, why do you have to wait till it's dark to come out and do the ghost stuff? Why can't you
Yeah.
just fuck about all the time?
Poltergeists, they don't wait for dark.
Yeah, but... And also,
See?
if there were ghosts, you'd be really going to town with being a ghost, wouldn't you?
But I think it depends
be
on the
coming-
history of the ghost,
you'd be-
what's affected their life and how they've died.
Yeah, but you'd be doing it once
Because you get nice
every day or
ghosts.
something at least.
You get nice ghosts,
Have you
don't
ever
you?
met a nice ghost?
You.
I think I
Casper.
could be wrong about this, but
Never
when
met
you
Casper.
isn't the story behind the way that ghosts exists, they're in purgatory and they're sent back to perform a task so they can get to where they need to go, be it
You've been
heaven
watching
or
too
hell,
many films,
right?
mate.
So
but-
ghosts can't just do whatever they want because
Who
they
came up with that?
They have a task. I don't know.
Exactly, this is what I mean, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
I
you
just-
mean that? But ghosts have been
I just wish that we'd see more of them, because I just think they're not doing that much for brand Ghost, are they?
No.
They need to come out and... Why are you laughing at me?
bad
Because
PR.
on the last episode you said ghosts need to change their brand. That's what
they
you
just
said,
need
and I was
to,
like, how
they need to do a bit more for the brand. I think Ghosts need to... Wouldn't it be amazing if a ghost appeared now on camera?
What?
Do you believe in ghosts?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. I'd like to, but...
I think the idea, in all seriousness, the idea of a spirit leaving the body and coming back to taunt someone or something,
Yeah.
I think is pretty far-fetched.
Okay.
I think I want to believe in it. I want to believe that that there is magic out there. So deeply want to believe that, but I struggle with it because of science. I think so. That's where I stand.
So you're a very scientific-based man.
Well, no, I mean, it exists for a good reason, isn't it? Like, science exists because people spend years and years training to work out the way that things work, and they do, and then they go, "This is how it works, everybody," and people are like, "Oh, that's amazing." I think you can't ignore that just because you like the idea that that there's ghosts. You know what I mean? Or you like the idea that the dead can raise, or you like the idea that Jesus came down. You know what I mean? It's like, just because you like the idea of something doesn't mean that it trumps science. So that's my stance on it.
Where'd you stand on aliens?
Oh god.
Yeah, what do you think about aliens?
Man, I've been listening to some mad podcasts lately about
US Congress admitting to finding
No,
aliens.
actually, I've managed to swerve all of that.
Okay.
Producer Fraser loves it.
Really?
He's obsessed with it, yeah.
So I listened to
He watches alien porn and everything.
He's obsessed with space cigars.
Yeah.
Space Cigars.
That's the spaceships always look like cigars, don't they?
Oh, I thought you were talking about weed.
No, well that as well.
He does love space cigars then.
So I listened to something the other day, and it was a Lex Friedman podcast, and I can't remember who he had on, but the guy said about aliens. He said if they've managed to get from wherever they are, so basically the universe is infinite, and in our solar system there's one planet that's capable of sustaining life. So the idea that the next solar system has that it's a possibility, but it's very, very very unlikely. So, but there is a possibility that the elements can kind of like what's the word? Kind of work out in such a way that it could sustain life. But that could be like thousands of light years away.
Yeah.
And then those aliens have got to get to where we are, perhaps, and even further in order to be able to make the travel from there to here. So you'd have to think that they were a more advanced civilization, advanced technology, but also probably advanced more socially. And the way he kind of said it was, when you're trying to preserve a species, so say you want to say preserve the tiger or like the penguins or save like a small frog in the Amazon, the best thing you can do is leave it alone, because the moment you go in there, then you kind of destroy it. So he said if they're a civilization that's so far advanced they can get to us technologically, they're probably so far advanced civilization, like socially, that they probably wouldn't let us see them, because we, being the frogs in the Amazon, it would fuck it up for us. So like, so that
We
basically
can't fuck it up anymore, can we?
Someone made a comparison, which was Earth could be like North Sentinel Island,
Okay.
which is the island which still has uncontacted tribes on it, where missionaries have been shot by arrows and shit.
Yeah.
And we could be the universal equivalent of like the uncontacted tribe, and it's just everywhere.
Yeah,
It's
so-
just a theory.
And they said, so this guy's basically, it's exactly, maybe it was the same thing that we listened to, but it's like basically if they are around, they would never let us see us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let us see them. So I'm a big believer. Yeah, I mean, like, why not? It stands to reason. I think it's like very slim chance.
Yeah.
But that slim chance of like is there's got to be something out there.
Was it?
Do you think we put on Earth to mine gold for the aliens?
Was this what we spoke about with Pritchard, wasn't it? Yeah.
No, it was
No.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
No, because Pritchard
Yeah,
was...
Zarosh.
Oh, was it?
Zarosh,
Oh, okay.
Zarosh has a claim that we're put on Earth to mine gold for the aliens.
Wow. Okay.
And what was that about, Fraser? Something to do with the gold, and that's what? What did you say? Have you got a microphone? Can we hear
I
you?
haven't got a microphone, but I can shout.
No, don't shout.
So the theory is that there's a race of aliens called the Anunnaki that live on an unseen planet in our solar
That's a
system.
Greek food, isn't it?
No. That have basically genetically modified humans to want and mine gold so they can suspend it in their atmosphere because it's a non-reactive material.
I've certainly seen some genetically modified
It's a
humans in
great
Great Yarmouth.
Great, yeah.
Been there. Seen that. What? I'm
Nothing.
not from Great Yarmouth.
So shall we start the podcast?
Yeah, I mean, that's
I'll shut up about aliens now.
that was Lucy's like, what the fuck have I
Well, I
stepped
didn't-
into?
What's
here?
your
think I
stand on
was
this
here
before we
for
get in?
this.
What's your stand on this before we get too much into it?
You ever seen an alien?
You ever seen a
No.
ghost or an alien?
Neither.
Do you believe in either?
Now, since this chat, like, no.
Well, even after what I said.
Yeah.
Oh.
It just sounds
He
like
thought
it's
he
way
sounded
too-
really like.
Yeah, I thought like I
Well,
thought
honestly,
you,
Bob.
you went like the chances are so slim, but then like, yeah.
But I actually didn't finish that. So like
So I'm
the
like
science
with
is so
science.
slim, but then we exist, and this thing has happened on Earth, and we've got to where we are, and it's like that the chance of that happening was so slim, but it has happened to us. So then it is in the realms of possibility that it could happen elsewhere, and in which case, and Oh man, we could should we do our own podcast another time?
Yeah.
Please do.
Save that thought. We'll do it as a closing statement. We'll go back to the aliens. What do you want to?
Yeah, let's start at the beginning.
You rein it in
Let's
a little
rein
bit
in
there.
the alien.
And you set the direction for where you want to go.
Chat. Let's talk about Lovenskate. 20 years. Is it 20 years? 21 years now. How did that start? And what is it with the name? What does it mean? Am I being stupid? Have I missed something with the name? I don't know. I've always been curious about it.
Yeah. I quite like the idea that you've been curious, and I'm about to like make it not that curious anymore.
Go all the way to the humble beginnings of Lovenskate.
Because did you start doing zines and things like that?
Yeah, so it was a fanzine,
right.
like a photocopied one that I was making out of my bedroom, and I was just like traveling around the country, going to different contests and that sort of thing. This is like way back, and hanging out with my mates and going to foreign places and taking photos and doing some writing and just enjoying that bit. Always reading skateboard magazines and enjoying the fact that someone had written about something. I was like, I want to do a bit of that, and it wasn't really like this magazine isn't covering the bit that I think is important about skateboarding, so I'm going to start my own magazine. It's like, I love this. I want to make something that I love as well. So I started making this little fanzine.
How many did you make? Do you remember how many issues?
Did you have many fans of the zine?
Yeah, there was a few fans worldwide.
Yeah.
I get envelopes sent. This is pre Instagram and I think people would send envelopes.
This is the good thing about skating, because like you're saying, you wanted to do things you saw people doing, like magazines and stuff. You can do that in skating.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we were like, let's do a podcast. All right, we'll do it. You can do that shit, can't you?
Yeah.
And skating's open and welcome to people doing their own shit.
Absolutely. So. Yeah. So like, I just needed. It literally wasn't like. Didn't think about it too hard. I've always liked that kind of like the tattoo, the love and hate. I know it's kind of cheesy, but it's just like, it kind of like, I don't know, I just think it's like kind of funny. And I was like, well, what will go on toes like that? Well, Lovenskate like fits pretty much perfectly on the toes. So I just drew a sketch of my feet with Lovenskate on the toes, and then there it was.
Well, there you go. You got your answer.
Like, sorry that it's not
21-year mystery.
It's not more deep and meaningful, but it's kind of evolved now. So it's quite nice. Is like the distros in Europe, loads of them call it Loven. So like the skate bit's kind of fallen off, and it's just like Loven. So like people are like, when's the next lot of Loven stuff coming? That's like great.
That should be sub-brand Loven stuff.
Loven stuff.
Why not?
And that can be anything.
Yeah. You just make whatever you want. Loven stuff.
To make it a brand to survive 21 years is fucking incredible. Like, it's hard, isn't it? And I'm sure you've had along the way ups and downs of it. But at what point did you go from doing the zines to like thinking, I'm going to do some boards, I'm going to make my own mugs here because the mugs are rad, I'm going to make my own tea.
Yeah.
Like how did it
bags.
evolve? Because it's kind of like an art project. It's like a long running.
You know what? It is exactly like a long running.
I mean,
project.
I don't know you that well. I mean, I met you today, but like, I see that it's almost like your art project and all these things you're interested in, and that's how it's kind of evolved. And it's basically your brain.
Okay, so
is that? Am I right in saying that?
That maybe puts a little bit more focus on me as a sole like driving force of it, a bit more than there's kind of like fair, because always along the way there's been like team riders and there's been artists and there's like
you do a lot of collabs, don't you?
Yeah, a lot of collabs, and then getting different makers of things involved and using different companies and all that sort of thing, and that all adds to kind of the weight of the company, so to speak. But it's by no means kind of like, my I'm the driving force sort of thing. Like that would be a bit unfair.
Collaborative
to everyone. But the when you say it's like a kind of a developing art project, that is pretty much how I kind of see it.
Well, like when you send the PDFs and you see what's going on, and it's like little capsule ranges, isn't it, with artists, and it's rad. It's different. So
that is I've been thinking about this quite a lot lately. That is for one reason, the fact that they're like little capsule projects. One reason more than anything rather, is that that's basically kind of all I can manage, or all we can manage. Like it's myself and myself, Dexter and Sol, who like work on all the printing and the packaging and making all the nice bits, and so that's like we're a small team, so we can't just go like we're going to do 10,000 of these boards, or like we're going to take on this enormous project. Because actually, it's like it's not sustainable. But also the way my mind works as well is like I can't forward think to like the drop of a board like thing in a year's time. I'm a bit too spontaneous, so like quite a lot of the way that I work still, and this is exactly what I did when I first bought like the first 10 boards to screen print, was like buy the boards, think of the graphic, and it's like right, that was 10, then it's like buy 100 boards. Now it's like we buy like 1,000 boards. But half the time, those boards arrive, and like half of them I haven't thought of what graphics to put on half of them. But then that might happen in a week, and then we can make it in 2 weeks, and you get the PDF, and it's in the shops in a space of like 2 months.
Yeah.
And I love that way of working.
Yeah, I like
really
that way. That's how I try to do like T-shirts. And when I did the Avi board, like the Avi baghead board, I usually say to my missus, I'm like, I've had an idea for something, and we draw it up that night, and then I send it to get printed. And I've had people say to me like, why don't you hold off and do like seasonal drops? I'm like, I'm not bothered about doing it. Like if I've got an idea to do it, I just want to make it, print it and get it out, and then on to the next one.
I feel like as well, like if you do it that way, then it contains that spontaneous energy. So if you have an idea and you write it down, and then you do whatever you got to do, like render it or put it on the computer and print it out, and then when you're in that process and you're excited about doing something, you then you put all that energy into it, and and you still have that energy when I'm phoning Toby and saying we got this new thing coming out and or when you're like putting together the PDF, or when you're packing the box, you're excited about whereas like if I was to think, would I have that energy to sell something that I decided to do a year ago? Like I wouldn't. It would be I would have lost that momentum. So I just don't like to work in that way.
I think there's quite a lot. What am I trying to say? It's a positive way of doing it, because we get bombarded with brands selling us ranges that are quite vast, too vast really to do it properly.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas with your stuff, it's more like spontaneous little capsules, and it kind of works like that.
Yeah.
So it's a good way of doing it. And like you say, it's like you don't want to be stagnant with a brand as well. Like if you get a range of boards, you've got to sell through those boards. If you get loads, it takes longer to sell through.
Yeah.
You want new stuff coming out more regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's a good way of doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've looked back on something that I've released like a year ago. I've seen something on my timeline like, you released this 1 year ago, and I'm like, that sucks. But but at the time I was like, yes, let's go, love it, and it sells. But a year later, I'm like, I wouldn't re-release that because I'm not that graphic. I'm not bothered about it anymore.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, it was like relevancy. Like it was at the time.
At
It
the
meant
time, I
something,
loved it,
and
yeah.
it was
But it's only Apple that's like sowing that seed of thought in your mind, isn't it? Like if it wasn't for this is what you did a year ago, as you pick up your phone, then like you wouldn't be thinking, because you're like forward thinking the whole time, right?
Yeah.
You're already on to the next thing. It's just like iPhone that's like put that thing in. So like ignore that, man. It's fine.
How long after? How long did it take you to start making boards then? After you were doing the zines, and then when? and then I was going to ask about who was the first pro on the team, and how did that come about?
Who's your first rider?
Yeah.
Who was the first rider?
Who was the first person you gave a Lovenskate printed board to?
I think it was Ewan, right?
I think it was Ewan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he's
came
been
to
there
Safeway's
a
car
long
park in Whitechapel.
Always starts off at a car park.
Yeah, always. Yeah,
Always at a car park curb.
I gave him a board, and I'd seen our mate Dan Luscombe. You know Dan from
Yeah, I do know Dan.
Cowhurst.
Yeah.
He'd said about him, I think it was him, or maybe it was Luke from South. But he's like, yeah, this guy. And he came up, and they gave him a board, and he like ollied one of the barriers in the car park like this high. I was like, man, this kid is mental good on a skateboard and funny. And so I think it's him. But yeah, that
And he's
was a
still
good...
on, right?
Yeah.
Rides motorbikes and stuff.
He does, yeah. He's one into
Fucking
motorbikes.
really good motorbikes.
One armed at the minute. He like dislocated his shoulder at some motorcycle demo where they had a mini ramp. He got his hand caught in the nets as he kind of like was coming out of some trick and basically got it caught in it and pulled it right out.
Did you see? Did you go to Cardiff for the weekend?
No. I
Did
went
you
to
see?
Greg's
Was it Stevie
rundown.
Thompson who?
Yeah.
Did
bone.
he do? Did he do it as well?
He broke his arm and it's
It's
Bit
like
of
the
bone.
split the skin. Yeah.
So I think it went.
I think it was a dislocation.
And like
My friend Andy's had that recently, and he said it was similar.
Man,
Stevie is
He's
one
so
of my
sick.
favourites, man.
Yeah,
He's
He's got the
amazing.
most boneless variations,
Yeah.
and foot plant variations.
I'm fairly certain he skates every single day and
Yeah.
and all day.
Yeah, he's sick.
Yeah.
He's really good.
So Ewan was first one on. When did you come into the mix?
And how did
'Cause
that come
been-
about?
You've been there a long time.
Yeah, I
Lucy Adams,
remember
OG, Lucy Adams.
the Pioneer Girl Skate
That's right.
Jams.
That should be the
that
nickname.
Jenna,
OG Lucy Adams OG.
thank you.
Change your Instagram right now.
The Pioneer Jams that Jenna used to put on. She did a Girl Skate Jam once a year. Awesome event, like massive community coming together. And I think the prize,
Was a sponsorship by Lovenskate.
no, it was
Forever.
a Lovenskate deck that I won. I don't know, or, you know, I got a free deck within that jam that day, and it was blue. Was it?
Did it have a logo on it?
It was just a logo board. No, it wasn't. It was a real Girl Skate Curbs board.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
It was
yeah.
a real Girl Skate Curbs
Rad.
board. It was blue, real Girl Skate. And I thought, this is the best thing I've
Yeah.
ever seen. Like, what is this? And I'd heard of Lovenskate actually. And back to the name, I thought, like, how good a name is that for a company? And why hasn't someone thought of that before?
It's a very
So, like,
positive name, isn't it?
It's just
It's just
wicked.
like, yeah, it's a nice, rolls off the
Really
tongue.
nice. And I went to, the week after that comp, I was going to Malmo for another, like, bowl riders comp or something. And I went out there, and all these, like, loads of people there. Actually, Munson was there, Potter was there. And people were like, oh, your board's so cool. And, like, it was quite an international affair. Loads of all the Europeans were like, oh, that board's so cool. Because it was still really, the graphic was really, you could see it. I hadn't slid it off yet or whatever. But after that, winning that board, I put it straight on. I was like, this board's going on. Like, this is sick. And I saw Ewan. I knew Ewan a little bit because he'd come to Crawley because he was down my way. And I think he said, oh, cool board. Like, where'd you get that from? And I said, like, I won it at this thing. And he said, oh, I know the guy. And I was like, you know the guy? Like,
The guy.
he knew the guy. And he
The
said,
guy.
oh, I reckon the guy would hook you up. And I was like, what? What the fuck?
Because who
This is-
were you getting? I mean, because you rode for Eastpak back in the day. That's how we first met,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
we
On
did,
the Eastpak
yeah,
tours.
yeah.
That's like 20 years ago. Must be.
Easily. Yeah.
So were you riding for anyone at that time when?
I don't think I was. I
Right.
think I was because I remember really liking white dipped boards. So
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
ring a lot of heroin boards at the time.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just buying or like I
Getting
don't
what
know,
you could,
just
yeah.
getting through them. And I don't think I was because I remember that white rail thing. So yeah, Ewan sort of said that, and then I think I digital lettered you.
What email?
I did, yeah.
Nice.
I mean,
think
you have to be on email these days.
I
don't you?
emailed him.
Have to be on it.
But I
it's
I
gonna
can't
take
think
off.
of the year.
reckon
Can we
it will?
think of the year?
No, I'm terrible. All the years of like
2007.
petrochemical
It could have
abuse.
been 7.
Oh,
It could have been 6 or 7
I'm
or
trying
8.
to imagine when I first started seeing those boards.
7 or 8, I would say it was. 2007 or 8.
I just you're so like linked with Lovenskate. If you'd have said to me I've been riding for him for 21 years since the beginning, I would have been like, oh cool, because I just assumed you'd been there like.
Well, it wasn't
since
far
day
from the
one, pretty
beginning.
much,
So
but-
you were saying 21 years, so 20.
So that's when we were in the Mangle, which was a studio that I shared with a couple of like amazing printmakers in Dalston, in Bethnal Green. Before then, I was in Hackney Wick, and before then was when I first started printing boards, which was in Hackney in some porter cabin by the canal. So that's like, that was maybe 5 years after. So that, what would that be? 2011, 2015? Yeah, it wasn't long in the grand scheme of things. Not long after, like it started.
Yeah.
being
Yeah,
a-
I
being
think
a
it was
thing.
like 2007. We'll go with that. Yeah, because 10 years later I had the Pro Boards, 2017. 2007, we've made
See,
it.
I'm well good at dates.
We should have rehearsed this on the train.
So you got a pro board after being on there 10 years.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And were you the first pro for Lovenskate? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was wicked.
That's what I was hinting at.
What was
When
the
I asked
graphic?
question. It was a
graphic
white
was
dip board.
A James Callahan.
Yeah.
Is it in there?
It's in here.
Badass.
Yeah,
Was
it's in
it
here.
a white dipped board?
It was when Stu said like you could like
have
you
what
up
you
for
like.
this, I was like, well, there's only one way to go with this. I'll get to the page. Here it is.
Oh yeah.
I remember
Should I
it.
hold it up? Where am I going? That one.
You know, that's the
See
one.
it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember it being a white dipped board.
I do. I'm a fan of dip boards.
I love dip
They don't get
boards.
many now.
Just the rails around the sides.
Yeah,
just looks
I had,
awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
it goes within what?
I think it divides the room, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Some
remember
people hate it.
Consolidated used to do a lot of dip boards, the black concave dip boards, but
In
I
the
wasn't
day
a
when
fan of it then.
it would
but-
do you remember when it would properly chip off, like
Yeah.
Creech
Really
and
chip.
Consolidated?
Yeah.
Would like you could like take chunks. Of
Yeah.
it.
With your fingernail, you could just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I had a yellow dipped anti-hero board recently, and it's first dipped one I've had in a long time. I was quite like it.
So like the way Pennswood do them is they.
So I was going to ask you about Pennswood, but
Yeah,
go on.
they're like sprayed in a booth, so they basically mix like a pigment with the lacquer, and it's like sprayed up and it's really even. But I mean, this might sound kind of dumb, but the reason they're called dips is probably because back in the day, I think maybe they
They were
were like
dipped.
actually
Yeah, they-
properly
yeah.
dipped.
Yeah.
So some people get funny about talking where they get their boards from. Are you okay talking about Pennswood? And stuff?
It's just that I'll get a bit funny talking about where boards come from. No, I'm not.
But you've used Pennswood right from the get-go doing boards.
So I was saying to Lucy on the way up here, now I've worked it out that like you have to use, and I think the same as Zorlak, you have to
Yeah.
use, if you want to be spontaneous and you want to like get boards in a hurry, or you want to like step back for 6 months and save a bit of cash, because
Yeah.
sometimes that is the case, and you can't, give a factory regular orders and then move on to someone else and they become
Yeah,
priority.
yeah.
If you have to operate like that, which is the way that I do operate, then you need to kind of somehow split it between factories. So now
Yeah.
I've kind of found two factories which I love working with. I love working with Pennswood because like the craftsmanship of the boards is amazing. And I love working with Generator because the boards are wicked. You get like great service from like Lane and Justin, and
they're the best boards.
and
in
they're the best
world.
boards. Yeah, I mean, everyone's got an opinion on what the best board is. Like, for instance, our friend Mikey Patrick.
Yeah.
No, forget about Mikey Patrick. We don't forget about him because he's wonderful. But Jordan, for instance, doesn't like Generator boards. He's like, bruv, they just feel too weird. I don't get on with them. Pennswood all day, 14-inch wheelbase, loves it. So like, it's just to each their own, I guess, isn't it?
How long have you been getting stuff through Generator?
Started 4 years ago and then had a brief hiatus when everything went mental in skateboard
Yeah,
production, and it was like all too easy to get them and then next level impossible to get them.
Yeah.
And now the next lot of boards that are on a boat are all Generator. So yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, we want to get ours done through Generator at some point because it's the best.
It is the best. But
Pennswood though, like my favourite, other than every sort of board that I've been able to have has been my favourite, but like the full camo wrap.
Has he told you to say that?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, the full camo wrap was like another just sort of dream come true. Like the first one, white dip, I knew it. The second one, I was like, I don't know, what should I do? Another full white dip, like with a different colour owl on it. What I don't know. And then we did this like full camo wrap, and Stu like managed to get a kingfisher in there, and then like the orange and blue really popped on the board. But like they sent through that first picture, I remember getting it from you, and it was like these boards in a stack, and they were all camo, and it just looked. I've never seen anything like that. It was-
Go on.
Because a lot of your boards had camo. Where does that come from? And also white owls, kingfishers. Like, what's the,
What's the correlation between all
Yeah, like what's the story?
Well,
Tell us, Lucy.
camo.
Tell us, OG
Over
Lucy,
to you,
OG.
Lucy.
Camo is just like, for me, camo is like skateboarding. I remember the first time I wanted to have camo trousers. I must have been like a 14-year-old girl. I went into army surplus and I ended up coming out with just a just like a overshirt with just an olive green overshirt because I was too scared to get the camo.
All right.
I don't know, it must 1998.
Yeah.
And I came home and my mum went like, you can't wear army clothes. Like guns, wars. And I was like, oh, I was going to get the camo trousers. And then I was like, obviously, as you do, like in the skateboarding thing, I was like, oh, she thinks I can't get them. Like, I'm going to. So the next time I raised enough money to go to the army surplus store, I bought a pair of camo cargos. And I was like, there's no looking back really. Like that was, for me, I don't know, just like woodland green camo was like what Josh Callis, it's like what I wanted to look like. At skateboarding, that's how I saw it, either stonewash baggy denim or camo cargos and a white tee. And so I've always been down for that. And then I guess birds have just been another thing. Like I'm not like a massive birdie, whatever.
What's they called? But is it a
Twitcher.
Yeah.
I'm not massive, but I just really appreciate either birds of prey or big birds like that. Just look really good, and the kind of master of camouflage with the owl thing kind of just really worked for me. And so
I had a phase of wearing tiger camo
trousers.
trousers.
You had a phase of being
because I like how they're like, it's like a thinner pattern
It is,
and it's
yeah.
longer. But every time I go to
Tiger
like an
camo.
army store to get them, I'd skate in them. They never stretched. They never. You can get real bad ones, can't you? And then you always rip them. And then the good ones that did have stretch, they'd have like this shitty ankle cuffs on them or something, which I could never skate in.
Yeah, because they were for
armies.
being in combat.
Well, I guess you are in combat with your board
I'm always
when
in
you're
combat.
trying for a trick. Yeah.
I'm always
You
battling.
regret that now?
No, not at all.
Let's go back to.
I want to talk to Stu.
I've got one.
Sorry, go on.
One more
No, 'cause
like
I want to know
nerdy-
more about printing and.
Well, yeah, I got one nerdy thing about the camo board.
Yeah.
Lucy said about when I sent through the photograph from Joe at Pennswood with all that camo. I basically messaged him and said, so at the time, like a camo pattern was like beyond my like technical abilities as a printer. So I
how do you print camo round onto this?
He's going to tell you.
yeah, so like, and did you say that you wanted it full wrap, or
Yeah,
you just
full wrap. It had to be the whole board.
Yeah.
so
is
like,
what I was
impossible
up for.
I challenge any skateboard screen printer to do a full wrap camo board, but I'd messaged Joe and said, is it possible that you could do a heat transfer, and can you transfer around the sides or whatever? And he messaged back, this is the beauty of him and how totally mad it is, that he messaged back and said, yeah, we just spent the morning hand cutting out different camo patterns in sponge, and then we just sat round and sponged camo pattern onto 200 blank boards. and then so that's like unlacquered, and then they lacquer them, and then hey presto, you've got camouflage. Every single one of those 200 boards
Hand
completely different,
Yeah.
hand sponged.
Didn't say that in the product description on the website, did it?
No.
It was so rad.
Have you still got one?
Yeah.
I
got two.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
What
Yeah.
one safe to skate, one for the wall,
No, yeah, 2 for the wall.
2 for the wall.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And everything is always screen printed. If you always done screen print, have you ever dibbled in just like
Dibbled?
heat wrapping?
Dibble dabble.
Heat dibble dabble, I don't
Heat
care.
transfers and
Like
screen
yeah,
print.
has it always been screen printed boards that you've specialised in?
There is only one time that we've done a board that Lovenskate didn't print.
Exclusive news.
And that was more just kind of putting the Lovenskate name to it than anything else. It was like part of the Metallica series, and
This one here.
one of these, yeah. But like back like a few years ago, and when I got sent the artwork, there was like no way on earth I could like reproduce it or do it justice.
Yeah.
So then I messaged the guys at Generator and said, is it possible for you to replicate this like level of detail? Because it's like this incredible, like almost like oil painting,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like a series of like these kind of skeletons, the 4 horsemen, like from Metallica, and they said, yeah, we can use this insane good printer to basically reproduce it, and they did like an incredible job. And it's like, well, I guess there's the kind of like the
It's understandable.
yeah, it's just like you don't want to
bring it out and it looks shit.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like it might be like, oh yeah, we print it all ourselves, but like you've ruined that dude's artwork that he spent like hours and hours and hours making.
Yeah.
So then like in that case, like, okay, it's part of the Lovenskate Metallica series, but we can't do it justice. So get it to someone
Do
who
a
can.
good job. How did the collaboration come about with Metallica as well?
So there's a guy called.
And why Metallica? Are you a big fan?
I'm a big fan, but that's
Yeah.
not how it came about. So like
Okay.
I didn't like, hey James, I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I got this idea.
Your drummer sucks at the moment, but I really want to print some boards.
I got a phone call from a guy called Chris, who's great. And he runs the merchandising company for Metallica. And he basically said that he'd been on the lookout for someone who could like make some skateboards for.
Yeah.
He basically the conversation went, I work for a big brand. I work for a big band, and we produce merchandise for them. Work directly with them. We want to use a company that can like make some like limited run stuff. Would you be interested? And I thought,
Yeah.
big band, who is it? Like, you know, like, but yeah, I'm interested. It sounds great. And then he said, okay, well, I'm just about to go on tour. I'll give you a call back in a few weeks and give you some more detail. And that was it. And then I'd kind of forgotten about it. 2-3 months later, he just phoned up and was basically like, hi, Stu, it's Chris. Do you want to do these Metallica boards then? And it's just suddenly like, and I was like a huge fan from a kid. And like, there's a certain point where my love for Metallica ends pretty abruptly. But, you know, earlier albums, like, still put on Kill 'Em All, and I have a lovely time in my studio, printing away with up to 11. So yeah, and so it came about in the most like school, no, what do you call it, like young kid fantasy kind of a way. It was like, okay, we have a PDF of Pushead's graphics that are licensed to Metallica. Like, I'll send it over, choose whatever you like. They're all just the line drawings, so you'd have to colour them. We're down for however you want to colour them. So like, send it over. First one I saw that I just thought that bang. Sorry, was the spider.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, I get.
Was that Spider on Blackwood? That collab,
we did it on mixed stain, and the actual colour of the spiders.
See, everyone pronounces things wrong when you're very conscious that you're talking on a podcast.
When you're like a bag of nerves.
Dabble.
Dibble
Dabble.
Anyway, continue.
What was I saying?
About the spider, the
so
colours.
that was like on mixed stain, and like we did it with a blend, so each one was kind of different. But yeah, it was like suddenly like, I'm basically gonna make some Zorlak boards. This was like my thing, you know. And I was like going through that thing, like saying to him, like, can we do the pirate? Can we do a reprint of the pirate? Yeah, and then it just kind of grew. It grew like really brilliantly and organically, and always like in contact with Chris now, and he's great. He like, I can't remember his exact kind of backstory, but he collects, I think, screen printed like band art. You know, if you go to like the Black Heart in Camden, it's just like wall to wall with these like screen printed band posters. Yeah. I think that was his kind of like, he wanted to make something along those lines, but on skateboards. And for me, it kind of like sat really well. You know, it's like Metallica and Pushead used to skate together. You know, they were affiliated with the whole like Zorlak like guys in Texas and all that stuff. Like it makes perfect sense. Let's recreate this magic, like screen printed.
Did you ever see the Zorlak video Zero Hero back in the day?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Fucking brilliant video. Really underrated. Aaron Dieter part. And the Aybrook brothers as well. It's
the Aybrook
worth checking out. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
It's a really good video. It kind of went under the radar for a lot of people. Like, I think it was 91, maybe 92.
Do you have any future collaborations with anyone exciting coming out, or are you just focusing on your own brand as opposed to more collaborations? Collaboration Baghead Crew.
I was going to say, can we do a brain drain board? Collab brain drain.
Yeah, I'm down for it.
To get one on the wall.
Should we make you a brain drain board?
Yeah.
It would be an honour.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes. One for me to keep.
Okay.
Don't worry about these guys.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll just put it on the show. Make a board for Fraser with loads of aliens and butt plugs on it. They're kind of his things.
Jesus Christ. So along with Metallica, you did one with Carhartt as well?
We've got like a long-standing kind of, I guess like a nice little partnership with Carhartt.
Yeah.
I can't remember how that came about. Oh, yes, I can. Of course I can. Really good friend of mine, Lars, who used to manage like the Carhartt skateboarding thing in Europe. I can't remember where I met him. I think I met him through French. French was doing some artwork for Carhartt 10, 11 years ago. Mm-hmm. And Lars said, do you know anyone that can like print these short run T-shirts? And French said me, and then met him. And then I'd just done this video about Bolivia, and Lars had just finished this. Hang on, how did I meet him? I can't remember exactly the way they come. Lars had just done this thing in, not Siberia, where did they go? Dirt Ollies, you know that video, the Carhartt one? Amazing video about how they took the Carhartt team to...
I don't know where they went.
Where do they go? It's like, it's mental.
Jerome Campbell was on
Jerome Campbell?
Yeah.
You what, sorry? Mongolia, that's it. So they went to Mongolia, and Lars kind of like organised that trip. Like Scott Bourne went, Ollie Bergen, I think. Yeah, like bunch of the Carhartt guys, Hugo Liard at the time, and all that. And I'd seen that, and I was massively inspired by it, and I was making this video about a trip that we'd done to me to Bolivia.
So
well, I went with my girlfriend at the time to visit a friend of mine called Gunnar, who's from La Paz in Bolivia, and the idea was to meet him and then find out where there's skateboarding going on in Bolivia, and then go to these places and just film the little crew and see how it's good. Because like no one at the time, I don't think anyway, no one had known that there was skateboarding going on in Bolivia. I've been there one time before and seen like these little crews and seen how amazing it was that there's like this crew of people skating like thousands of feet above sea level, where it's like hard enough to walk, let alone skate. And and it's just like this really brilliant scene. So I wanted to go make a video of it, saw that Mongolia video and was like, this is how I want to do this video. And then I got to meet Lars, and then Lars basically like kind of took me on. It was like, he's like, I like what you do, I like your video, I like your kind of brand ethos, or disgusting marketing word, whatever he said. But and then suddenly I was like going on trips with him and going to Hellfest with him and like doing and then Lars left and the guy called Bertrand took over, and then we did just before Lars left, he kind of handed over a project to Bertrand, and then we did another one with him, and then we just kind of continuously do it until we did one last year.
What was the first one? Was it the teapot?
Terrific one, yeah. So it's like a...
It was really cool.
Yeah. Tea set, board, stickers, t-shirt, all came in a box. Yeah.
Tea is a reoccurring theme with Lovenskate.
Yeah.
I mean, I disappointed you as soon as I picked you up by telling you there's no tea here.
Well, no, actually, what that might have seemed like that, and I apologise. I disappointed me because I was on my way to get a tea,
Right? Yeah.
and then I turned around and shook your hand, and then I kind of didn't, and then so it's all right. I can cope without it. I'm not like not.
When did you first get into drinking tea?
I think at about the age of 5.
And what tea is your go-to?
I'm not a snob. I think there's
I don't think you're taking this tea talk seriously.
I think people have said that to me before, but it's just tea. It's brilliant, and it's like the mainstay of it's the backbone of the British workforce.
Backing Britain.
Where do you get your tea made when you make Lovenskate tea?
It is made by a brilliant company who blend their own tea, do magic down in Somerset, and they make our blend, which is lovely. So
Is that your own?
yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are others like it. Was it like, this is my...
Did you go down there and do that tea drinking?
No, they just sent me a load of samples and was like, can I have more Assam?
All right, cool, nice.
Do you get monthly tea packages?
I don't drink tea.
Coffee drinker.
No hot drinks.
Are you like water?
I'm not very much of a hot drink person, and if I want a tea, I have to have something cold before. If I want a hot drink, I have to have something cold before.
Really?
Yeah, I was kind of late
I
to
don't
the
know
game of
why.
hot drinks.
I can't go straight into a hot
Yeah.
drink. I have to have water or something, and then
I
kind of
was a
psych
bit
myself up for it.
fearful to tell Stu I didn't do tea because I was like, this thing is really tea-y,
Yeah.
and I'm like not so
Drink
into
tea,
it.
get rad.
I wonder if that put the non-hot drink, non-hot drink drinkers and the coffee drinkers, what if it put them off the brand? Maybe if someone was to come in, like someone big in PR, and say, you know what, you got to like curve the curve the tea thing.
Yeah.
What's your go-to biscuit when you're having a cup of tea?
Well,
Give me your top 5 biscuits.
because of Dexter Harrison, now it's like hobnobs, chocolate covered hobnobs is like
Because they hold it together, right?
they hold it together. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other favourites?
They don't mush apart very quickly when you dip, do they?
I've got quite a lot of biscuit questions.
Can demolish a packet of biscuits in seconds, no matter what it is.
Is your unit the same as Palomino's unit?
Yeah,
Am I
yeah.
correct in thinking?
Hang on, I
Yeah.
didn't finish talking about biscuits.
Just because he said Nick Palomino, so I was just thinking it flashed in my head.
I mentioned to you guys earlier the big Oreos you can get now.
Oh, yeah.
They're not actually branded Oreos, I must say that. It's Lidl's version.
Oh,
But they taste the same.
Have you ever had the Oreo ice cream?
Yeah, we were in there. Yeah.
Nice.
Pink wafers. What are they made of? I know it's wafer, but what's the stuff in between?
air.
Is it just air?
I think so.
All
Yeah.
right, I've always wondered that. Thanks.
I feel a bit cheated by a wafer if I'm honest. Not only do they not hold their structural integrity whilst dipping, but also feel like
Structural integrity whilst dipping. Stu's calling out wafer.
Did you say so, Alan Partridge?
So analyzed.
I feel a bit cheated, like weight for weight.
Yeah.
Often they're like
Yeah.
89p, 110.
Yeah.
But then, you know, you can get a heavier biscuit for 89p, I'd say. Packet biscuits.
Why are they pink?
Yeah, I don't get it. It's I don't know. Bourbons.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've gone up in price.
Have
you
they?
used to be able to get a pack in Asda like a year ago, 35p. Now they're 89p, and that is inflation.
That is inflation.
Yeah.
If anyone's
That's
confused
inflation
what
if I ever
inflation
saw
is,
it.
just look at the Bourbon scale.
But yeah,
explains it?
chocolate hobnobs are known for their dunkability.
Yeah,
They hold it together.
hold it together.
Yeah.
Talking about inflation and prices and stuff with screen printing, would you rather
Good segue
sell a more, still fairly priced, more expensive board and screen print it, or would you rather lower the price and just go to heat transfers? Because how much are your boards currently? Your standard team issues, and then
RRP.
Yeah, they're like in and around 60. So like,
which is a very reasonable price considering we've got boards coming in now, 100 quid for a popsicle board.
hockey board's 100 quid, right?
Yeah, Baker boards are now 80 to
we're not allowed
85.
hockey.
You're not allowed hockey.
No, we're not a skate shop. We're
Okay.
not allowed
Yeah.
hockey.
Fair enough. I was not just in a skate shop.
That's the thing.
No, we're not a skate shop though, Stu.
Okay.
You're incorrect. We're not allowed.
We're a shop
FA
that has skateboards in it and a
Okay.
skate park surrounding the business,
and
but
pay,
we're not
and
a
pay our
skate shop.
riders. Support the mags with adverts.
Okay.
Could go into this, but we're not going to.
Yeah.
Who wants
Yeah.
to sell £100 board anyway?
Well, this is the thing, right? So, I mean, this is a bit of a tangent. The pricing of boards, because obviously, you know, that's what my day job is essentially here is buying. The boards have gone up, and
Yeah.
they should have gone up a long time ago because they've been at a reasonable price for a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember going into Phase 7 in Waltham Cross, wanting to get a board, and it's like power boards were 65 quid then,
Yeah.
and it was a
55
lot of
quid, yeah.
money. You know, and you'd always end up getting like the sale boards and stuff like that because that's all you had. But you know, with price increases and stuff like Spitfire wheels have gone through the roof, and
Lurpak's £5.50 in the corner shop.
it's fucked,
is,
isn't it?
yeah.
Butter, the cost of butter,
Butter's
Lucy,
a-
is outrageous.
Butter's a funny one, isn't it?
£5.50.
Butter fluctuates. It's
Yeah.
one thing I've learned.
Why is that? 'Cause of the cows?
45-year-old man is a butter fluctuates.
And
Yeah.
I'm not batting an eyelid. I'm just whacking that tenner down and I'm buying the butter.
Because
Can
the
we
thing
put
is,
in the description for this episode, butter fluctuation.
And the Bourbon scale.
because the thing is with stuff like that, I'm the same. Like you can complain about prices and stuff going up, but you still need to buy it. So you either just buy it and get over it and make it become the norm, or you take a stand against butter and start trying to cancel butter on Instagram.
Butter. Anyway,
But,
so what
yeah,
I was getting
so-
around saying is that because of the what goes into your boards,
Yeah.
you know, like you're saying how I hate to sing the praises of Joe at Pennswood, but Pennswood create
Great boards.
Yeah.
great boards, and then you putting your touch on it with the screen print.
You're putting in your work and
finish, the bags, you know, like the
doing it by hand.
like when we had
Potato
your
sacks,
yeah,
yeah.
you know, like that shit, like that. Your price point should be up.
And how much are potato sacks that you fucking send them in? How much are those bags?
Well, we bought them in the tens of thousands, so they
Okay.
actually worked out pretty cheap. But yeah,
So
when it was potato sacks, do you remember the potato sack day?
Yeah, real thick with like the white tread kind of
That
thing at
was
the
like-
top.
That was like that was me, and I think I probably do a lot of this, but that was me being like so staunchly in my principles about like plastic
Shrink wrap
which is
and
like,
everything.
which is a bit nuts, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But like I was so like staunch in my principles about that I was just like, I'm going to waste a load of money on really heavy duty bags just to make a point. And I think
Yeah.
the only point I made was like, people were like, maybe these are a bit of a nose, Stu, but because you can't
Can't fit them in a box.
Can't fit them in a box. But that was the beginning. Now we've got nice slim paper ones. I'm happy with it. It is going to change again.
But it's nice that you're actually doing something different as well.
Yeah.
You know, because you're quite literally making everything by hand, and then the packaging by hand as well. So it is like a nice thing when you get like the bag and then the board, and then obviously every board screen printed. So there's slight differences on every board. We were talking like about the Zarosh boards being screen printed and how people will be like, this one's got a bit of a smudge on it. It's like, well, fucking deal with it. It's been made by a human.
Yeah.
Like now when you get a screen printed board, you spend so long actually looking at it because they just pop more than a heat transfer board.
Yeah.
So yeah, props to you for doing that whole process.
So I think like I love printing boards. Someone said to me before,
Yeah.
you know, if you could make this, if you could train someone else up so that you didn't have to do this anymore, or you could make it slightly more automated, then you could print twice as many boards at a time. So like Dexter is learning, and Dexter's a really great printer, and he's learning loads all the time.
Can you teach me?
Yes.
And I can move to London and work for Lovenskate.
You're gonna regret saying that.
That'd be a dream, and then we can do a podcast.
But like the thing is, I'm like, I really love that bit of my job, and I hate the computer bit. I like the phone call sales bit, and I love dealing with the.
You like the talking and the making,
but like the finance and the emails and the shit that comes with running a business, I really dislike, because I just want to reproduce graphics or make my own graphics or get inky or get lost in the world of music and just print 200 things, get so a little bit of it is like, well, I probably do go a bit over and above. I'm not saying we go over and above as a company.
No, but you quite literally do though, because it's not. Is there any other companies that are solely screen printing the majority of their stuff whilst being eco-friendly with packaging? There's not that many.
There's the Screamy Squeegees in America, and they print a bunch of stuff so there's like Greco's, Hammers boards, they're all screen printed. Strange Love, I think maybe like 80% of those boards.
But within the UK, no UK companies.
There's Tommy, there's back and forth prints in there in Portsmouth. He's doing a lot, but I don't know, he doesn't have his own kind of brand, but he's doing a lot of flip stuff, or a good bit of flip stuff, I think, from what I see on socials and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't really chat to Tommy too much, for no reason other than we're both probably just like head
lost
down,
in your own world of screen printing.
But probably do need to get on the phone and talk about skateboard screen printing to that guy, because there's not very many of us.
No.
Probably good to...
I mean, screen printing in itself is a real art form, isn't it? I mean, before we started, we were looking at that, the Deathbox Wurzel.
Yeah.
And like the detail and the skill level to get that shit lined up.
Yeah.
And also the nostalgic kind of, I don't know, like the idea of that. It's just, I don't know, it takes you back, doesn't it? It's like going into a skate shop and all the graphics.
I like that they're not flat when you get a screen print board. You can look at it and turn it in the light, and you can see all the different.
Well, it shows you
like
how
on the
it's
Halford
done,
board, you can see all the different lines around the letters. You see all the different colour overlays.
So I'm a bit of a hippie about this sort of thing, but what I said to you earlier about the energy, about getting an idea and then putting it down on paper and then
let's do it now.
That momentum. I feel like when you do print a board, when you print anything, or when you make something with your hands, it does. You can see and feel that kind of physicality. So on here, you can see the layers of John Horner's artwork. Literally,
great artist, by the way.
Amazing. And so there's that's kind of retained, so that like you say, where you feel the nostalgia, you pick up that board and you can see the blemishes and the raised inks and the misprints, and you're like, this thing has a physical energy. It isn't just like a press print and then something comes out of a machine and then someone who doesn't care about the thing they're printing puts it through another machine and then it goes through
turns up at your front door.
There's no actual energy in that, whereas like when Lucy, when we did this brilliant thing with Lucy's first board, where she came to the studio and we got all the boards set up with the screen set up, and you pulled the first colour, and then we took photos of that process, and then that process, I can't remember how it was, but I saw one of the things I'm most proud of, I think, is you printed the first colour.
I pulled the owl's eyes, the yellow,
and I took a photo on an analog camera, got that developed, then made a screen out of the photograph, printed that photo of her printing the board, so meta, onto a board, then I photographed that, and that was the advert in grey. But then when I look at that advert, I see it and I'm like, it does have this energetic feel. I can remember Lucy was in the studio, we printed that, it has. So I think that's that thing of you get out what you put in, sort of thing. Yeah. With anything, with any kind of thing that's made, I think the more that goes into it, the more that comes out of it. I did this series of boards a while ago, and it's for an exhibition. I can't remember what the theme of it was, but I did this board. It's a series of 8 boards, and it had one bit of the graphic built up, and it was called Newton's Law, and it's the transference of energy.
Yeah.
And I kind of wanted to do that just to show the way that the colours laid down in order built up a picture, but the idea was it was about Newton, so the idea that energy goes from the first like the first colour and the first pull
Yeah.
and like the physical act of it
Through
meant
to the
make this
very end.
picture. And I quite like the idea that like all that process goes on. Like, you know, the amount of energy stored in a board that's pressed, like that's under tension the whole time. That's what makes it pop. It's under like tension. It has a physical energy, and that some science guy is gonna say it hasn't got a physical energy, Stu. It's like potential energy or some shit like that. Probably, I'm sorry, but like my belief is like the whole thing contains an energy, and like if you put that energy into decorating it, and then the excitement of like some kids seeing it on the shelf and go, wow, those colours pop, and they take it down, that energy continues, and they're going to go out and they're going to have a better time on their skateboard rather than some like mass-produced kind of like shitty and like, you know, yeah. Although you did some banging graphics and fairly
white
certain
bits.
they hand screened in the beginning.
Yeah.
I just
Anyway.
mean their stuff that we get now is just fucking.
But it's not. But it's not Zoo York like Zoo York right now.
It's
not.
not Zoo York. Like you say, back in the day,
Yeah.
that was the one, wasn't it? It was good.
You
So
go to that studio though, like, and I go there, you know, and you've got to dodge around like leaky roofs, cables.
Health and
When
safety
you go
nightmare.
in, and if he's like, it's a board printing time. There's just like, you know, what are they called where you put the board on?
Racks.
Racks. There's lots of board racks. You walk in and around them and you like try not to knock them. And there's just like, and I go there and I think, man, like, how is this? This is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, all the work that's going into this is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And then,
Kids don't appreciate
no,
how much goes into it. do
but
they?
it's so cool to be there and like see it happening.
Yeah. I mean, we did Mike was doing our
Heathen
what did
Daryl
we call it? It
Knobs.
was like the pros that should have been pro for Heathen. He's
Yeah.
done boards for him.
You got
So
some
he-
downstairs, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he did lino, cut, graphic, wax seal, all hand done. And it was in this room behind here where he was like hand
No, because I
pressing
think.
it with a pump,
Every- and the
what's it
rece-
called? A jack? You know, so he's putting the pressure on, lifting each one.
Okay. Yeah, I did.
But I like that stuff. It's good. And there's
Yeah.
a story behind it, and it's kind of like all the boards you've done.
Well,
because of that process,
Mike
isn't it?
described it as when he was making them and giving them to Daryl. Well, I think he described it as this on the car journey back. 'Cause it was a long time. Is that making something physically by hand shows the people that you love what you're putting into it, and there's a lot of care putting into it. And he described it as like when you gave him that board and it was handmade, it was showing Daryl how much he meant to the company by physically making a hand printed board. So it'd be the same for all your pros as well. Like you put the time into it and the brain power to figure out how it works like a puzzle, as opposed to just putting it through a machine and going, there's a board. Like it actually shows that the person who's running the company cares about your input on the company. So
Especially if you've been able to have that input too. Like in
Yeah.
the times when, and I know it's like the same for Jordan and Alex, so I won't speak on behalf of them, but like when Stu gave me that opportunity, it was like, it's totally free reign as well. And it's like, I'm not very good at it because I'm not
Yeah.
that creative. I don't pretend to be an artist or like do anything like that. I just, but I do really appreciate it. And I
Yeah.
have like, I've got really strong tendencies of what I don't like. So then it's
Yeah.
quite easy to find out what I do. So when I get to work with those people, I'm like, yeah, like it's coming along. And then, yeah, to see it then, like I say, that full camo wrap one, like that was just wild because I didn't imagine it when we first started to talk about it. And then
I've
when
never
it
seen a
came-
full camo wrap board, so I'd say that's the first.
It was good. And what was really
MVD.
good about it is like Joe Gavin, I think he commented on it or they got them in note and he said like, this is wicked. And I was like, day made.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe
life
Gavin.
Made. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, sick.
Yeah, amazing. So going from
Go on.
that, I was just going to ask, what are both your personal favourite Lovenskate boards from the creation of Lovenskate? What's been the board that you've been like, this is the ultimate board so far?
I got one.
I mean, it can be your own pro board. It can be something like the Alex one behind you, just because of how it looks. Have either of you just got a personal favourite board that you're like, that's my ultimate Lovenskate board?
Shall I go first or you?
Well,
Yeah, if
Lucy's
you've
got one.
I
if
got
you're-
one.
No, Lucy,
Thought
you
were
go
having a
first.
tough
You go-
time.
you go- no.
can't have favourites.
I think I have.
If it's not
You
mine,
go,
you
you go,
can't.
because you're clear on it.
Yeah, you go first.
Mine's got a long-winded story. Like all
Oh,
of
no,
them.
mine's like Storm in a Teacup, or did you call it that in the
Yeah,
end?
it was still in the teacup.
It was
yeah.
a James Callahan one, so again, like from like one of my all-time favourites.
Done with the cup in the middle and all everything
is.
coming out around it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that one's fucking sick.
Like
yeah.
it's insane how
Yeah.
much, and that was that 12 colour,
13.
13 colour.
13 colour, and it was still retailed at £60.
No, that was when we were using HLC wood.
Yeah,
Oh no, was that?
That is a really good graphic.
It's amazing. Like
So
all those little skeletons and everyone's doing it. Like it's just.
I actually,
it's beautiful.
you know what? I'd say. I think that's my favourite too, Lucy.
You copied me.
No. I'm serious because
Look at the sketches. Like it's so awesome.
James Callahan is.
That's
is
what I
the
mean.
best.
Even
Like,
the time going into just drawing it, it's not computer
No.
generated.
and he put up a thing the other day, and he said, "Really, really happy that I'm back to using paintbrushes again." And he's like painting these lines. You know, like what a nutcase. But he's amazing to work with because he'll like phone up and say, "I've got some free time. Do you want a Lovenskate graphic? Have you got any ideas?" And I said, "Well, I was thinking maybe something like this." And he said, "He'll just come back with the most like
Exactly what you want.
insane sketch, like
Yeah.
better than I could ever imagine."
Yeah.
Or, so like he's wonderful, and I actually got to know him through Carhartt, Lazo and Batchelor because he did a series for them. I don't know if you ever saw it. It's a great board series, and like what Carhartt did a few board series, and one of them was talking about explosions of energy. It like started off with this. It was a popsicle, 8-inch, with a picture of a wizard on it, adding something to a cauldron, and then there was like a pool shape, like a kind of pointy nose, kind of wide, squared off tail. That was the next in the series, and the stuff coming out of the cauldron like a snake, and you can see the wizard's eyes kind of like turning weird, and then there's this like mad money bumps behemoth of a skateboard, like 11 inches wide, huge thing with all these crazy money bumps, and the wizard's face is exploding and the pot's exploding over, and there's like monsters and everything. And he did that graphic, and I said to Lars, who on earth did that? He said, this guy James Callahan. And then Alex Barton got in touch with him and went to stay with him when he went to America, and then the relationship just kind of formed like that. But
I love it when shit's just made from a sketch.
yeah.
Like I know, like I've only done one board. It was for Avi, Chris Averton, and it was heat transferred because I looked for screen printing, but it was just going to be too much. But we made, well, I say we, my missus made that. I don't know if you saw the graphic, like literally out of clay, like little bits of clay. This with all of his, she like strategically asked him what his favourite butterflies were, and the board's got loads of butterflies over it, and it's like a clay Avi figure. Looks so much like him, doesn't it? And he's got one arm down and a super long Avi arm because he used to skate with the long arms.
Yeah.
And his name, like Avi, is made out of like little leaves, so it spells Avi. But just seeing her make that, and then me bringing it here and photographing it and then scanning it in, when I look at the board, I'm like, that is physically made.
Yeah, and
that graphic, and I've still got the clay figure with like his long arm and this little Avi head, and he's got like little realistic glass eyes and a little hat and everything.
And screen printing couldn't do that justice. You know what I mean? Like you'd need a photograph to. I mean, you can't. I'm sure there's a way, and like maybe the guys at Screamy Squeedies.
It would have just been so much because of how many different tones and colour in his face and his clothes and.
Yeah, I'm not like a snob or against like
no,
or anything like that. But like as you say, like that's an amazing, and the fact that it's all made out of clay and then it's a photograph, it's like it's brilliant.
Yeah. I was really I'll show you after just how it turned out. If you know Avi that well or what he looks like, it's just it's this little figure, and the amount of detail, like cheekbones, his mouth, everything, his little ears. And I still look at that board. It's on my radiator in the living room, and I'm just like, that graphic's literally made by hand and then put on a board. It just means so much more than if I just got someone to draw it.
Yeah.
So I was just glad that it was made by hand. Means a lot more, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Just want to speak to you a bit about girl skating. Obviously, you're like the OG.
Well, she's the OG Lucy OG.
You're the OG girl skater.
Who had the last part in the first Lovenskate vid?
Was it Lucy?
It was Lucy, wasn't it? First Lovenskate vid, our last part in that?
Who's
Either of you remember?
No.
No? Came in a cardboard.
I've literally like melted my brain with like thinners, so I like literally I'll forget this happened by tomorrow. So.
Came in like
Do you wear a mask when you're doing it?
Well, yeah,
You
I
do
have
now.
to now.
I do. Actually,
you
now
not?
we're like more or less like water based.
Yeah, all right,
But
okay.
but like back in the day, it was like all like solvent paper
Yeah.
and board and plastic inks printing those boards, and it was mental.
You're making them high as fuck.
Yeah, like Lily and I.
That's why all the graphics are so trippy, because you're like,
That's actually like a really good this board here. Like I've got the mask on there, but like Lily that I used to work with, Lily Cowley Wood, amazing girl. We worked together for years and years. She's brilliant. We would like no joke, print boards all day, like just be so sideways that you'd have to go to the pub and like have a couple of pints just to kind of get a bit more like real. It's like
Normality,
you would walk out of work for, like, and every like screen printer from like now there's really good like water-based inks that will stick to loads of stuff because they've got some other gnarly chemical in them.
Yeah.
That will do some other kind of damage. But yeah, like printing with solvent-based inks was like part of the joy and also part of the curse.
Well, yeah, you did have last pint in that video. I'm 100% sure. So there you go. Refresh your memory on that.
Who is killing it in the girls at the minute?
What female skateboarders do you think
skaters.
pushed the female movement in the UK? Stu?
Lily Strachan,
Thought you were pointing at Stu then.
Lola, Alice Smith, like
There's so many now, isn't there?
Yeah,
It's
I
gone
mean-
from like that time when it was kind of just you. There wasn't many, was there?
I remember
And
you,
then
Kirsty Tonner,
Yeah.
Lois, Helena,
It was
Yeah.
kind of
Danny
just.
Gallagher. That's what
Danny
I remember.
Gallagher, yeah,
What
Was,
was the,
like the five.
Georgie,
Yeah.
yeah.
What was
Yeah.
the turning point? And what do you think changed? Was it because it's almost? I mean, obviously the Olympics probably had something to do with it. With
But
Sky
even
Brown.
before then, it like
But there was still like something happening. There was more and more people getting into it, and then loads more girls coming in. But was there any point where you were like, that's obviously helped this, or
I feel like social media,
yeah,
like
maybe
Yeah.
definitely had a
Connecting.
really big impact because it was that connection thing. No
Yeah.
longer like were you just stumbling across people or like that physical sort of element of having to travel somewhere like really far to connect, or like it was always at a comp,
Yeah,
or
you could just do it on your phone.
Yeah.
you could just do it, and you could just even like if you didn't meet up, you were still talking to
Yeah,
somebody about it, or still appreciating that there were other people doing different bits of skateboarding that were a bit more like you because of sort of body parts.
So there is a plus to social media then.
There is, yeah.
well, it puts it all in your face, doesn't it? Like without social media, like I went for a skate with Claire. Is it Alume? Claire, and then her mate Liz Jake,
Yeah.
who's just like when she turned up in like the brim hat, curly hair, slim black trousers, she just looked cool as fuck, and she was French, and I was like, "You're fucking
She's
rad."
cool as fuck.
And we went on like a Girl Skate UK. Claire was getting engaged, so we did like a hen video, and that's the first time I went out on a trip with like where there was like 7 girls and just me, whereas it used to be the opposite way round. Do you think do you think it's social media that just like pushed
Well,
that?
I think
like,
there's role model in there as well. Like, you know, the minute I remember whenever I got Instagram, the best part of that was like being able to sort of like curate my feed, you know, when it was all back in, it was the right time.
and it was
like,
good, whereas now it's just
and it didn't
fucking
just
shit.
tell you what it thinks that you like. When you could actually just decide, like, I'm going to follow all these people, and I can suddenly follow all these girls in this country, this country, this country, and then you could just have your sort of what you wanted to see, and it was there, and it was being refreshed. Like, I remember getting in from college or school when like dial-up was still an internet thing, and refreshing certain like websites to see if there was like new content with another girl, or like certain YouTube, like YouTube was there, but you know, it was so like it was just like now when it became more readily available, I think that you just were able to get so much more inspired and motivated by stuff that you could see. And then there's been more recent things. I think COVID, like that whole thing happened, and I certainly even like just going down the curbs saw other girls either roller skating or skating, or like even if they were longboards or pennyboards, like at spots, not skate parks,
It's
because
almost
it was
like-
the thing that you were allowed to do at the time, weren't you?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And it just like it was more normal to see that, and then you've got the more recent things, Olympics and bigger bits like that. That
I mean,
just
we've got loads of girl skaters around here, haven't we? A lot coming
Yeah.
for lessons and stuff. So
Did you see? It's not skateboarding related, but did you see that video that came out, that push forward, or what was it called, fast forward by Lazo? And it's all aggressive quad skating, and they're doing hill bombs, and like Sammy Backer's there. These girls doing like fakey hill bombs on aggressive quad skates. That's what
it's
Saf
weird.
does who works in the shop, and it's edited by Shrimp Daddy, isn't it? But so it's you watch it. I remember it came on my feed, and I was I'm not going to watch it. And then a couple of days later, I watched it, and they're doing like handrails going off like ledges into like banks, and they're all eating shit so hard. But it's like
mental.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
That
I feel like I've seen
that
clips
I
from
watched
it,
that
but-
video and I was like, fucking hell. And then there was a section where like this girl called Barbie comes on and she's like all like dainty and like she's got an intro where she's eating shit and then the part is just gnarly and
Yeah,
it's
and
like
she's covered in like
she's just
scars and
battered.
stuff. She is.
And then the girl that does the fakey hill bomb with Sammy Backer there, and then when she like lands the trick, she's like, and like goes fucking crazy. And Sammy Backer's like, that's my homie, dog. I'm like, where have these girls been? Like they've just popped up, and that seems to have boosted that
video-
aggressive quad skating
Yeah,
movement
yeah.
now.
It's
They've all got little grind blocks in the yeah.
and it's edited like a skateboard video,
Yeah, it is,
and they
isn't it?
skate spots that skaters go to.
Yeah, all those
And
San
it's
Francisco
like-
Yeah.
and stuff.
It's so good.
And they all ride Spitfire 50 mils.
There's a girl, Jen,
Yeah,
at
Form
Bumps.
Four.
They put like
and
penny
she,
trucks on.
Yeah.
She won a set at the Bumps Jam. She won a set of like, I don't know, 53, 54 mil Spitfires. And then she won a set of them. And she's like, can I have another set? Because I need obviously
Yeah,
8. So then they gave her 2 sets.
Nice.
And she's skating around.
Yeah,
with
they ride Spitfires. And,
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I definitely checked the video out.
Yeah.
It's
it's
like
worth checking out. It's really good.
like there's
it's like some bits, Lucy. You're like,
The fakey
just the
hill
fake
bomb.
the
I
fakey
feel
hill
like
bomb.
I've seen clips now, but I've
Yeah,
not
it's
seen
good.
the full
The fakey
thing.
hill bomb's nuts. And it's a real famous hill bomb as well that people skate over the barrier into. Doesn't she like grind it or like hop
There's that
over
little
it
curved hover thing
and
at the
goes
top,
fakey
and
on it and she's like going backwards on these quad skates and like you can just see she's stacking up speed and Sammy Backer's like
So
going
what you're
nuts.
saying is I need to get my Bauer turbos back out the shed.
Oh, we sell them here. We sell quite a lot of those.
Put a
Oh,
grind
awesome.
block on them.
Um,
but has that picked up? Because there's like at Clissold in North London. There's lots of girls that are like
you
riding
see them.
quads.
Yeah.
They're it's happening. I think it's quite good. It's sort of like a whole new discipline of that is coming through. I mean, that's been around for a long
Do you
time.
think
but
it would be
it's
acceptable
recently-
for filmers to be on them again?
like in the old PAL days,
so,
like
so easy to film on if you're on skates.
if you can skate on skates, yeah. But, I
Never
don't know.
considered that.
You could just like hop up, can't you? Like
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I never
roll
really thought
over
that.
shit
Yeah.
that you need to.
Double tongues.
Let's get you on some skates. You
Yeah, I can give it a try.
can, get some out.
That video is
Always
so
rock double tongues.
that video is so good though because it's like that's the first video of that kind that's been bought out. So I looked at it and saw how excited Saf was and some of the girls that come in that do it. That I'm like, that must be what you felt like when you watched your first skateboarding video and it unlocked this whole world. And now like a bunch of girls and guys are watching it and be like, wow, there's like a crew out there that are doing it on the streets.
Yeah.
So then it's going to keep progressing after that. So it's like you're watching skateboarding progress, but like years later, you're seeing it like gnarly quad. They're like little skateboards on each feet.
Yeah.
Way more impressive than rollerblading, in my opinion.
What is in the future for Lovenskate, Mr. Stuart?
What is in the future?
Have you got
Yeah,
your eyes on?
What's going on?
Are you
Brain
hooking
Drain
up any-
collab board.
Are you hooking up anyone new? You
Right
got,
now,
you got your eyes on anyone?
Really concentrating on not going out of business.
Can I have a
And
board?
I think I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a few things coming out. Some giant brand partnerships, which I'm under NDA. So, but yeah, you can look forward to that.
Are you actually, or are you just taking the piss?
I'm kind of, you never really know me, Toby. But there's some good, yeah, we got like good few boards coming out. Like they should be, yeah, for the summer collections. They should land about October, I'd say.
And when can people expect to be able to get hold of the Lovenskate X Brain Drain collab board?
Ex baghead boards.
The three,
No, let's just do the Brain Drain one.
triptych.
The Unholy Trinity collaboration.
Yeah,
When-
that's a great top graphic.
Could you do a graphic? I guess
You're not convinced, are you?
no, I'm not going to. Just gets bagged and everything. Yeah. I was just
You
thinking
have to
could
work,
You
don't you?
could do some kind of lenticular print that's Lovenskate, tilt it a bit, Brain Drain graphic, tilt it a bit more, baghead graphic. Can you do that with screens?
I don't know.
Okay, we'll scrap it. We'll just go straight for the Brain Drain one. Fuck baghead.
Come on.
No, I love it, mate.
Why do you hate it so much?
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Well, he did have a note saying how come Roller Snakes isn't
I
on the stock list.
I had it out with him at the station.
But I saw him delete it and I was like, oh,
Yeah, because
motherfucker's
I already
scared.
put a note in my phone to fire the guy that does the back end of the website, and he won't have a
Is it
job
you?
tomorrow
It's
morning.
a content guy.
It's me.
It's
It's
you.
me, and I'm really sorry. And
Are you?
yeah, really sorry. Yeah, really sorry. Because
there's been loads of kids
that-
in Derby. They're like, "Where can I buy Lovenskate?" And they look and it
You'd
says
be
roller
amazed.
snake doesn't,
That-
and they can't just Google it and search on roller snakes.
www.lovenskate/stockists,
Yeah.
believe it or not, gets more hits. That page gets more hits than any other page on the website.
Okay.
So I feel bad that someone might have missed out. No, it doesn't. Of course not. But but like but no, but it's done. That it's not on there. So I will change that. I promise.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Does that explain why you didn't order the last couple of drops?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Cool.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. It doesn't actually. I just noticed it last night when I was researching you. I do the usual thing. Google people. Their their net worth.
Net worth and
yeah.
stuff.
We do, yeah.
Lovenskate's worth
What's
3
mine?
million apparently. Yours is
It's 3
7
I
million.
don't- Can you Google what's Lucy
I
Adams'
was meant
net
to be a
worth?
millionaire 10 times over
Yeah,
in 2020.
I'm sure I've looked at it before. Yeah.
Yeah, let's look at Lucy Adams' net worth.
We'll finish on that because that's quite a funny thing to finish on. Unless you are like a multi-millionaire and you just keep. Oh, yeah.
I can't believe it's been 45 minutes.
It's been longer than that. I'm weary.
It's been like 2 hours.
I'm weary that Lucy wants to skate and it's just gone 2 o'clock.
Weary.
And also I'm getting I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, I
And when
fancy a
get
little
hungry,
skate
I
as
get
well.
angry.
1.6.
1.6 million.
Sucks.
Is that it?
Is that it?
That's what Dainton said. We were like, you're estimated at $1 million. He was like, is that it?
That's not from Google, though. That's from some dodgy website called Net Worth Post. So
Yeah.
So not true?
No, it's not true.
Okay.
Shall we wrap it up there? We want to thank Lucy and Stu
Yeah, big
for
ups.
making the
Thank
travel,
you.
coming on the show. Thank you for talking about some great skateboarding and some great history.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing, and
Yeah,
we're
keep
huge
it
fans. And I can't wait to see what the
Thank
next
you for having
Dips
us.
Lucy Adams board is.
Yes.
What sponge cutouts are going to be there to
Back
make it happen.
sponge,
But yeah, what we'll do, we'll get you two to roll the credits. If Toby does this roll the credit arm,
Okay.
don't know if either of you, Lucy doesn't look stoked on the roll the credit arm. But yeah, on
Right.
on that note,
What the fuck they're on about?
on that note, let's roll the credits. Thank you very much.
See you later. Bye.
Clap.
Oh, sorry.
We have to do it for like 10 seconds through the credits.
Don't.
We usually do. Right, let's go skate.